So, one of the most annoying things is the whole breastfeeding issue and how women like to do it in public. So, there's nothing wrong with breastfeeding. Hey, breastfeeding is a great thing to do. I mean, it's wonderful. I breastfed my kids. I think it's great. It's healthy. Breast milk it's got a lot of nutrients. It's really healthy for the baby. It's good for the mother. It's wonderful for bonding. So, breastfeeding is a wonderful thing to do. Nursing your child, nursing your baby is a wonderful thing to do. The problem, though, is with American women who do it in public and have absolutely no shame. They have absolutely no modesty. They just they just let their boobs hang out. I mean, it's just like it's a free show for everybody. And I was thinking it would be really nice to be a guy because you get a free show and it costs you nothing. You don't have to throw any $1 bills at the lady. You can just sit there and look and it's a free show. And these women are not embarrassed at all, which is just completely bizarre to me. I mean, I breastfed my kids. I cannot imagine ever sitting in public with my breasts exposed to strangers and everyone, being able to see the goods. I just can't imagine doing that. But it's just flabbergasts me that women do this, and it's just flabbergasts me. And, there's nothing wrong with nursing in public, but when everything's just hanging out there in the open for everyone to see, I mean, we don't need to see that. We don't need to see that. The public doesn't need to see that unless you're a guy, of course, and you're getting a free show. But, I was just thinking it's just gotten so out of hand. I mean, it's gotten to the place where whenever I take my kids, which makes sense, right? Because women who are nursing are probably going to have babies. I mean, that's, I'm going to places like the zoo and places for, specifically for kids where there are other children and babies and their moms are just nursing them in the open with no covering, no anything. So the other day it was a while ago, it was a few months ago. I went to the zoo and here's this lady feeding her baby, nursing her baby, which I mean it's just her boobs were just hanging out. And I was with my kid and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I don't want my kids to see this." And then not just my kids, but everyone else's kids have to see it too. And everyone else has to see it. And everyone else's husbands or, partners or whatever have to see it too. And I was thinking, what if I had a teenage boy or, a boy who is 20? I mean, I don't want him to see stuff like this. So I guess what my point is that when women choose to nurse in public, there's nothing wrong with that. But your actions affect everybody else around you. So if you have exposed your breast to 100 people, there's 100 people around you, and you've exposed your breast, that is affecting the 100 people that are around you. So what I'm asking for, and I know I'm not alone, just people don't are too afraid to say anything because everyone gets all mad, is just have some respect for the people that are around you and just cover up. I mean, you can go ahead and nurse in public. There's nothing wrong with that. Just cover up. That's all we're asking for. So, this one time I went to the park and I had my daughter with me. And we went to the park because that's what we do, right? You have a kid, you go to the park so you can play. So this woman came and she had newborns, or maybe they weren't newborns, but they were pretty small babies and they were twins. Really, really cute twins. And she was with a friend of hers. So they sat down and I thought they were just going to sit and have a good time, play, whatever. And the next time I looked over, she had both her boobs out. Both. Broad daylight, broad daylight. There's people around. We're in a park, a public park. Both her boobs out, nursing both babies. So that's pretty cool, right? Yeah, you're nursing your twins. Very, very cool. But like no covering at all. I mean, she just, I don't even know, I don't think she was even wearing her shirt. I think she took her shirt off. I think she like took her shirt off and then her boobs were just out, completely exposed. I mean, she was pretty much almost topless. And there was, a guy walking around And I think he was trying to get people to sign some kind of petition or register to vote or something like that. Well, so what do you think he did? He saw this lady with her boobs exposed, nursing both kids, and he walked right up to them and started talking to them, and he stood there and talked to them for a long time. Now, why do you think? Probably. He went up to them and talked to them for such a long time. My guess, besides him maybe trying to get them to register to vote or sign a petition or whatever, he was enjoying the free show. Because guess what? That is a free show. You can argue with me, you can think I'm a douchebag, you can think I'm a jerk, whatever, but it's a free show. I mean, I don't think she even had her shirt on. Like, she must have taken her shirt off to feed her twins. But I was sitting here with my daughter, and I thought, oh, I hope my daughter doesn't see that because I don't know what to say. And like, I mean, I would tell her the truth, but that it's not really appropriate to expose yourself like that in public. And then of course there was that story, and I think I saw this one on Yahoo.com. There was a story about this woman who was nursing her baby, and they were in a museum, and of course she was also exposed. She was not covered up, and I guess somebody asked her to cover up, and then she got all mad and offended and all that stuff. So she took a picture of her breastfeeding her child, standing next to a statue. I think it was a marble statue or something, of a woman with a bare chest, sort of bare breast. And she's like, this lady just asked me to cover up, but the statue's breasts are visible. And apparently, after she pointed that out, this person had to like back down and all this stuff. But my point is though, like, number one, that's a statue. It's not a real life person. Number two, if a real life woman took her shirt off, topless, in public, it would be indecent exposure, and she would probably get cited for that. Of course, the cops would enjoy the free show. They might let her off with a warning, but she's probably still going to have some kind of a citation for that. I mean, it is indecent exposure. And the only reason people are expected to allow it is because there's a baby nursing, and that's apparently what makes it okay. So I have a lot of people, they say, well, it's totally natural. It's totally natural. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And that's right. It is totally natural. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. But that doesn't mean that you should have no class. You can still do it in a classy manner. You can still, do it tastefully. You don't have to expose yourself to everybody. I mean, it is natural. Yeah, breastfeeding is totally natural. But so is peeing, and so is pooping, and so is having sex. But if I was to pee in public, or somebody pooped in public, or somebody had sex in public, that's not going to fly. Like, you're going to get arrested for that. And if a woman walked around topless in the US, she's going to, get cited for that. But apparently, if you've got a baby on your boob, that makes it okay to be topless, apparently. But so it really doesn't. If everything natural was allowed, then you should be able to pee and poop and have sex wherever you want in public. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. Like, that's not okay. And the woman who was standing next to the statue with her breast exposed, I mean, think about that. If a man went to his male statue with his penis exposed, and the man dropped his pants down so his penis was exposed, do you think anyone is going to stand for that? Like, that man is going to get arrested on the spot and get called all kinds of names and whatnot. So just because there's a statue who's naked doesn't mean a human being that's next to it can also be naked. And so there's nothing wrong with nursing your baby. It's a really good thing to do, and it's very healthy for the baby and the mother. But there's also nothing wrong with having some class. Like, there's nothing wrong with covering up. In fact, I mean, that's how you can do it in a classy manner without making people around you uncomfortable. Because what you do affects everybody else. So if you decide to expose yourself to nurse your baby and there are 50 people around you, those 50 people, someone might become uncomfortable. I know that I definitely do. And I've got young kids, and then if my husband and I are out, and this happened one time, my husband and I went out, and there was a woman next to us with a really cute baby who was adorable. And I was talking to my husband, and then like 2 seconds later, this woman, she just whipped her boob out and had her baby on her boob. And I mean, like, not even trying to hide anything. I mean, can you imagine if some guy did that, just whipped out his dick? like not trying to hide anything. I mean, can you imagine? Like that's just crazy. But so we were sitting right next to this lady, and all of a sudden her boob was out. Like, I mean, she was like 2 feet away from us. It was really awkward and really uncomfortable. But of course, we didn't say anything because if we say something, then we're the bad guys. Like, go ahead and feed your baby, go ahead and nurse your baby. Just please be respectful of the people around you and cover up because it does make other people uncomfortable. Okay, not everybody thinks that you should walk around with your boob exposed just because you've got a baby. And as I mentioned before, I breastfed both my kids, but I didn't do it just anywhere. I mean, I'm not comfortable exposing my body in public to random strangers. I don't feel like giving people a show. So when I had to nurse, I would actually, I remember the one time I went into my car and I sat in my car with the door shut. And I mean, the car was on, it wasn't hot or anything like that inside. And I was comfortable and nobody could see me. And I was very comfortable with that because I was able to nurse my baby and no one could see me. And I'm fine with that. And also, a lot of times I would take, pumped milk. I would pump milk and I would take it with me, or I would have like formula in case I needed to feed the baby, but I wasn't able to nurse, which would also happen sometimes. Um, but so, like, you can nurse your baby and you can be classy about it. You don't have to be vulgar. You don't have to be trashy about it. You don't have to have an attitude problem and say, well, I can do whatever the hell I want, and if you don't like it, tough, don't look, and, blah, 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 which a lot of American people have that attitude. I mean, it's really just a very immature, irresponsible attitude. Your actions affect everybody around you. So please be respectful of that. You can make 100 people uncomfortable by doing one thing. Or, you can make 100 people not even notice if you just cover up with a shawl or cover up with a little baby blanket or something. And so I am definitely a supporter of nursing. I'm definitely a huge supporter of breastfeeding, but I do think you should do it responsibly and, have respect for the people around you. Cover up. Because it's such a small thing, but yet it has such a big impact. And I know people who are like, "Oh, I need to feed my baby. I need to feed my baby." Of course. Go ahead and feed your baby. Just be tasteful about it and be respectful to the people that are around you. I mean, think about it. God forbid if a man came down and put his pants down and you could see his penis and said, "Well, what's the big deal? It's natural." Yeah, no one, I mean, he's going to get arrested and labeled as a sex offender. It's a little bit of a hypocrisy, actually, if you think about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with nursing, just, my God, have some modesty, have some class. Do whatever you want at home. If you want to walk around naked in your house, fine, go ahead and walk around naked in your house. But when you're in public and other people are around you, have respect for people around you, have respect for society. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. And I grew up in a culture where women were raised to respect themselves. So whether you respect yourself or not, I don't know, but at least respect the people around you. So whether you respect yourself or not, have enough respect for the people around you to not make them uncomfortable by your actions. Okay, until next time.